are some books that you strongly recommend reading, from your all-time favorites to your any new releases that you've come across?
I read quite a bit, but I think one of my favorite books has to be A Little Life, which is quite a poignant and intense book, but I really enjoyed reading that. Other books that I've liked are Still Life by Sarah Winman, which I read this year. Rules of Civility, Gentlemen of Moscow by Amor Towles are also great. I think he's an amazing writer. City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert is really nice, fun, lighter read, as is Where to Go Bernadette. In the Woods is a really good thriller, if that's something you're looking for. I feel like every book I read, or like the ones that I really enjoy, all have something that I love about them, but these are maybe the books that I kind of recall right now.
Is there any specific genre that you usually end up?
I like the sort of drama, like family saga or more contemporary classic style, or like a thriller for a little bit of a break. But I kind of stay away from non-fiction and historical fiction. Those aren't really
Not your favorite.
Yeah, those are not really my thing.
Did you always know that you are going to be a writer, get in the branding space, or did life throw you a curveball?
I moved to India, actually I moved to Delhi after university in Toronto, and I wanted to be a social worker. So that's kind of how I started working in India. I did that for a few years, and within the different roles that I tried, I realized that I really enjoyed the communications and marketing side of things. So I actually got a role in marketing, and that's where I started working in the communication space with writing. Because I've always loved to write, but it's one of those things that just because you like to write, it doesn't, it's like you can be a great cook, but that doesn't mean you're going to be a chef.
Yeah.
So now being able to, and I was doing marketing, and then I sort of took it to freelance, and I got a few roles like that. It's not necessary that just because you're good at something or you enjoy it, that you're able to do it as a career. So I think I was very lucky, and it was unexpected because that's not something I had seen happening for me.
But now that you're in it, do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. At the end of the day, I'm doing branded content, so it's a little bit different. It's still writing, but then there is a certain amount of admin that goes along with it. For example, today a writer has to be like a social media manager, and that's kind of not writing a lot of the time. You're making reels, you're producing shoots, you are engaging with comments, or you're sort of managing PR situations, or you're doing influencer marketing. So I don't do that much writing anymore. I don't do that much editorial writing. But I actually did some today after a long time. I do really enjoy that.
How would you describe your creative journey as a writer in this field, branding, marketing? How have you given brands their identity, and what is something that people can,
So I think what's really, for me, what a nice way to start is because nothing is really new. Everything's been done before. Every sort of business already exists in a way. I like to do a certain level of research and benchmarking and referencing just to understand what's out there. And that serves as a mix of sort of, you get inspired by certain things, but you also maybe know what's been done and maybe what you want to avoid, you want to copying something. And so that's something to be really cognizant of when you're writing, because you can easily write something that's been written 10 times before, and you want to kind of stay away from that. Apart from that, I know it sounds maybe like a bit not unprofessional, but it's quite easy for me to understand what brands are looking for, I feel, because I'm a big consumer of many of the types of brands that I work with. So I generally, the moment I've sort of seen the brand, or like even seen the products or looked at the lookbook, I already kind of know what they are and what they want to communicate. So it doesn't really take me too much time to understand a brand story. And I think once you've gotten it, it's pretty easy then to communicate it if you're able to write with that. So you have to just, decide what the brand is looking for, because also at the end of the day, it's marketing, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a representation of your brand. You also want to build awareness, you want to engage with customers, you also have to showcase your products.
Yeah.
So a lot of people I work with, they're very keen to do a lot of storytelling. But the point is, you can't just do storytelling, you have to sell.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's where my job comes in, where I have to find that balance of storytelling versus selling.
there's far more to a writer's job than just writing. So, how would you describe the essence of a good writer in a few words?
I think everyone writes with an audience in mind, and usually, even if you're writing a book or anything, you're writing for someone else. And I think it's really important to be aware of that. So especially if I'm writing for a brand, I need to know who they're talking to and talk to them in a way that they would appreciate, understand, and connect with. If you just write for yourself, it's not necessarily going to benefit the purpose of what you're doing or sort of like reach your objective. So I think it's important to be aware of your audience and tailor your tone and voice and sort of style to that audience.
So you've written for a multitude of sectors ranging from fashion, film, food, travel, lifestyle, etc. Did you ever have to step outside your comfort zone, and how was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I've written for like an automotive parts company. I've also written for like some government agencies on disaster relief management, like editing documents. I think when you're outside of your comfort zone, generally it's not as enjoyable because you don't have that knowledge and expertise that I feel I can offer to other sectors. So you end up having to work with the team very closely. You need to do a little bit of research, obviously learn from them, understand the brand, product, all of that stuff. But I think you can fake it a little bit because I feel you need to understand the more high level big picture. You don't have to get into like the nitty-gritty of everything because again, you're writing for an audience and they are not experts either. So you need to, in a way it's good because I'm a novice in this space and I'm writing to other people who might be in the same area. So it helps by not dumbing it down but making it easier for people to understand what you're saying without using very technical language or terms of which they won't understand.
As a content writer, as someone who's been in this branding or marketing space, I'm sure you've at some point had to work with limited creative freedom in the industry. What would your advice be to a writer struggling to stay true to themselves?
You know, I feel like, so if I talk about like content writing for brands, a lot of times you're reporting or writing for someone who's not a writer. They are a marketing manager, maybe the owner of the company, and they may not understand why you would write things a certain way. And it is frustrating because they tell you, like, the feedback is always really fun. I mean, it's like a frustrating process. So they give you feedback like, oh, just change this. I'm like, sure, but like, what about it? What should I change? And they're like, no, just change it. And I'm like, that doesn't help. You know, so even stuff like, it becomes like a more, you have to kind of negotiate and explain your point of view. But I think if it comes to staying true to your style, obviously this relates to writing your own content, like your own writing. I think you have to understand who you are. And I think that's really important. I feel like self-awareness is something that people are lacking. And
they're struggling with it, most of them.
It's tough, right? It's tough to know a lot about yourself. I think it's something I spend a lot of time doing because I've been forced to in certain situations. So for example, like doing therapy, meditating, also spending time actually just thinking about why you do things and what reasons there could be for your behavior or your the kind of person you are, will help you understand who you are and then you want to stick to that version of person, I guess.
Do you also believe in manifesting or, you know, having a goal or certain things or things that just happened as you went along? Or was there any point wherein you thought that, okay, I want to sort of achieve this and
I do try. So I do believe in energy and I really believe that you can put out the kind of energy that you want. And if I really want like a particular job or like a role or something, I will see myself doing that. But unfortunately, I say like half the time it happens, half the time it doesn't. So I'm not really the kind of person who looks like I'm not really future thinking kind of person. So I don't really know what this is going to bring me. For example, I'm doing my master's now in psychology because I assume that within a few years, you know, I think Instagram or social media, like I will age out of it. It's not something that I can do forever. And I use that as kind of a backup that it is something I'm really interested in, like looking at counseling and therapy and so kind of planning for that. So So I think you can plan for the future, but you can't really expect anything. You know, you just have to take what you get.
You're just trying whatever you feel could be right for you. I think that's so nice to.
You know what it is? I feel like I totally like take myself very seriously, and I don't mean this in a frivolous way, but for me, work is not like my life, right? It's very much a means to an end. It's also because like I need to do something to stay busy. I obviously need to keep my mind occupied, so I enjoy working for that reason. But I'm not going to kill myself for my work because I feel like there's so much more to life. Like you have to enjoy your day-to-day life, you have to be happy where you are, you need to build an environment around you that makes you happy, you need to build a lifestyle. So that kind of for me is what keeps me going. And when you don't focus on any one thing too seriously, even though that's hard for some people, then I mean the outcome isn't as dramatic or drastic. Though there are times where you will have like a really big blow. You know, when COVID hit, obviously I like lost a lot of work and it was really difficult for a few months. But yeah, you can't let that bring you down because that's gonna happen in your life. Like no one lives a perfect life. You're gonna have a lot of bad stuff happen to you. So just don't take it that seriously. Yeah, I mean you're not always gonna have exactly what you want, but I feel like you need to kind of be in the mindset that you can manage and what you're doing is what you're meant to be doing for right now.
The past few years have been rather promising for creative opportunities in India with the homegrown movement and so many new brands coming up. Is there anything you'd like to share with young creatives starting out today?
I think a really key thing to think about no matter what you're doing, especially if you're building a brand, is to understand if there is a gap in the market. A lot of people just do something because they think it's interesting and they think people will like it, but it's not required. And the minute you do that, your journey becomes 10 times harder. So you have to be really, you have to do a lot of research and really think that this is going to work. But building a brand, like filling a gap in the market, is your easiest way of knowing that what you're doing might actually do well. You know, I've worked with brands for a year, we've launched, we've worked together, we've worked on the launch, and then after a year you realize you just put in a lot of money and it's not really working out, and it is a very sad thing to like lose, it's like losing a family member almost. But generally those brands tend to be more, maybe more like, not need-based, they're more nice to have. And the minute you enter that territory, it's tough. You know, there are certain things which do well. Obviously, fashion is nice to have, right? It's also something that really connects with you personally, and it's how you express yourself. But there are many other things that are not that. And so it's like, do I really need this product or service in my life? And is it going to kind of like really make a difference to anything?
So you have worn Āroka. So what does wearing Āroka make you feel?
I love it. I love like the fuss-free stuff that you can just wear. You don't have to think about, keep adjusting. I really liked that about the brand. I also like the fabrics. I feel like they're very luxurious feeling. And the versatility. You can mix and match pieces. You can wear them different ways. You can also wear them for like Indian occasions, which is fun. Like I've worn my Āroka top I think like 5 or 6 times. So, and it's like a very unique. It's like a lavender. It's not even like a black top. So to be able to wear that often